Welcome to this presentation on the consultants' pay offer in Wales that has been the result of recent negotiations with Welsh Government. In this presentation, we will explain how we've got to this point already, what the negotiation process entailed, the pay offer that is being presented to consultants at the moment, the referendum process that we are running, and the next steps if consultants decide to accept this offer or reject this offer. So how did we get here? It all starts arguably with pay erosion. As you can see from this graph, at the outset of 2023-24 pay year, as a result of consultant pay not keeping up with inflation over the last 15 years, we have seen consultants' pay in Wales erode by up to 30.3%. Real terms pay cuts have a massive impact on both colleagues and on patients. As pay has been cut, consultant roles have become less appealing. That has led to colleagues retiring early or reducing their hours. It also has meant fewer people choose to move into consultant roles in Wales, whether that's because they've been leaving the profession or working in other nations. That's been leading to larger gaps in our workforce here in Wales, which has then been leading to patients suffering longer waiting times and ultimately has meant that conditions have been harder for consultants who remain. All of this then feeds into the cycle of consultant roles in Wales becoming less appealing and so on and so forth. None of this has been helped by pension disincentives in recent years. The committee's focus has been to improve consultant pay to break this cycle, to begin attracting and retaining doctors in Wales, and ultimately improve consultants' working lives and the treatment that patients receive. As health is a devolved matter and sits with the Senedd in Wales, the pay award for consultants is determined by the Welsh Government. As part of the enhanced pay offer for the 2022-23 pay year, the Welsh Government agreed to enter into separate medical and dental pay talks for the 2023-24 pay year. The Welsh Consultants Committee entered these negotiations last summer in good faith alongside junior doctors and SAS doctors. The committee was clear that a pay award was needed that began to address pay erosion and began to value the profession appropriately. Despite the Welsh Government's commitment to full pay restoration, the pay offer was at the time sub-inflationary, at just 5%. This was the lowest pay offer in the UK for the 2023-24 pay year and was below even the DDRB recommendation on pay. The Welsh Government made clear that this was its final offer and no further negotiation to be had, left us with no option other than to ballot for industrial action. In the meantime, the Welsh Government chose to pay the offer despite the negotiations having been unsuccessful. Although the Welsh Consultants Committee made the decision to ballot in August of 2023, following the breakdown of negotiations, to ensure we achieved a strong yes vote and met the statutory turnout requirement of 50% of members, several months of on-the-ground engagement took place in the closing months of 2023. Then, between the 22nd of January and the 4th of March this year, we ran a ballot of consultant members. 70% of consultant members participated in the ballot, with 86% voting yes to taking strike action. Alongside SAS doctors in Wales, consultants were called to participate in 48 hours of strike action commencing on the 16th of April. Junior doctors in Wales voted in favour of strike action in December 2023. What followed was 10 days of full walkouts by junior doctors from January to March this year. With SAS doctors and consultants stepping in to cover for striking colleagues, the estimated cost to the NHS for each day of action was £1.1 million. It was increasingly becoming clear to the Welsh Government that they couldn't afford not to settle the dispute. The sustained pressure from junior doctor strike action and the threat of senior doctors due to take strike action on the 16th of April brought the Welsh Government back to the negotiating table with a significant proposal for the basis of talks. We called off the joint strike action between the consultants and SAS doctors, and the junior doctors also paused plans for future strike action to allow the negotiations to proceed. We therefore re-entered pay negotiations with one pot of money for all three branches of practice, but very clear that we needed 3 separate deals for each branch of practice. On Friday the 7th of June, we announced that 3 pay offers had been reached after challenging negotiations with the Welsh Government. The BMA is now recommending that SAS doctors, consultants and junior doctors all accept these offers. So, what is in the pay offer? We know that we are struggling to recruit and retain consultants with the existing pay scale. And with changes to the consultant pay scale in England, we needed to make sure that there was a clear advantage in pay to choosing to work in Wales. Through negotiation, we have arrived at a reformed pay scale for consultants working in Wales, which we think achieves this. The reformed pay scale that's on offer reduces the pay scale from 14 points, including commitment awards, down to 8. The new 8-point scale begins at £100,000 and ends at £146,000, front-loading growth in the first 5 years, shortening by 7 years the time it takes to reach the highest pay point, and maintaining the top rate of pay whilst ensuring that far more consultants will be able to reach this pay. As well as drawing new consultants to Wales, this will significantly increase total career earnings and career average earnings that are so important for the final value of the pension. With this pay scale, consultants in Wales will be the highest paid consultants in the UK in terms of basic pay, whilst working a shorter working week of 37.5 hours as currently. This offer is backdated to the 1st of January 2024. We were conscious of a need to balance higher levels of back pay with the risks of breaching annual allowance limits for pension contributions for some consultants. We fought hard to get this level of back pay, which is 2 months more than agreed in England for their offer. This table compares the current pay points against the reformed pay points on the new scale, detailing the additional pay you would receive in year. It's worth remembering, of course, that this is on top of the 5% pay uplift that you've already received, and pay uplifts for 2024-25 are unaffected by this offer. As this is a pay scale reform proposal, the uplifts that consultants will see immediately varies between the pay points. Some will receive significant amounts straight away, whereas others, either where they're at the end of one of the new steps of the scale or they are at the top of the scale, receive less. For many, future rises, often only 1 incremental point away, more than outweigh the lower rise seen immediately. For those at the top pay point, we were glad to be able to maintain pay at this level, which is £15,000 higher than in England and ensures that senior consultants in Wales are by far the highest paid in the UK. If we look at, for example, someone who is at the top of the current pay scale and who has just received a Level 3 commitment award, in this pay year they would receive £919 additional in-year uplift, or 0.71%. However, if you then look at your next incremental pay year, you'd stand to receive an additional £8,000 on top of that, which represents a further 6.2% uplift from if this deal weren't in place. That's before you consider what the pay award for the next pay year might be, which is likely to be announced in the next couple of months. It's also really important to understand the benefit of bringing commitment awards into the basic scale. These awards have been frozen for a number of years now, and by bringing them into basic pay, we ensure that all of the pay package is uplifted each year from now on, rather than just the basic pay scale without the commitment awards. Other elements of the deal are an agreement to develop an all-Wales job planning policy with a view to this being implemented during 2024-25, which we hope will bring consistency to the job planning process across Wales. We will also work towards developing a recruitment template with a view to this being implemented in 2024-25 too. It will establish options for agreement of SPA levels, taking into account the skills and experience of the appointee and the requirements of the specialty team and the service delivery. In order to achieve this pay offer, we have agreed that if this offer is accepted, we will withdraw the consultant rate card in Wales. We do, however, retain the right to reintroduce the rate card in the future if there is another trade dispute, and we won't hesitate to do so. We've also agreed to develop all Wales extra contractual rates for consultants with a view to these being implemented during 2024-25. We hope that we will be able to get some of the BMA rate card rates into this agreement. However, please rest assured that we won't agree anything that is not in the interests of our members. It's also worth noting that under the proposed pay scale, resident night cover covered under paragraph 3.8 of the consultant contract in Wales would be paid at a higher level of £205 an hour approximately. We have also agreed to undertake scoping work alongside Welsh Government regarding whether or not there is a case for contract reform for consultants. Any consultant contract reform will need to be fully modernised against current and future requirements of the NHS and will be for the benefits of patients and also, of course, of consultants. This scoping work is not itself an agreement to enter contract reform discussions or contract negotiations. Instead, it is simply to examine whether or not there is a case and need for reform, what timetable would be reasonable and possible, and the level of investment that Welsh Government would need to provide in order to participate in contract negotiation discussions. If we do not find there to be a compelling case for contract reform for consultants or any elements that would advantage members, then we do not see a need to proceed along this path further. The BMA has long-standing concerns about the effectiveness and independence of the DDRB, the review body responsible for reviewing doctors' pay and recommending annual uplifts. In addition to the reforms secured by our colleagues in the UK Consultants Committee, we have secured the following reforms to the DDRB process in Wales. These reforms ensure the actions of the Welsh Government keep pace with the wider reforms to the DDRB terms of reference enacted by the UK Government. The changes are as follows. Support for all changes to the pay review process agreed as part of the England Consultants Pay Deal in April 2024. Ensuring that any remit letter is neutral and solely to start the process and indicate that Wales wants pay recommendations without reference to affordability. To agree that recommendations of the DDRB are only rejected rarely and due to a compelling reason. To ensure that Welsh Government participate in the review process in a timely manner in accordance with the timelines set out by the DDRB. To promptly implement the recommendations of the DDRB upon publication. So what will happen if consultant members as a whole vote in favour of this deal? Welsh Government have indicated that back pay and new pay scales will be paid from the September or October payroll. This means that you will receive back pay from January until this date. If members vote against the offer, the pay deal will not be implemented, nor will any other elements of the deal. We truly believe that this is the best deal that can be reached by negotiation. Equally, we are not convinced that if this deal is rejected, it is likely that Welsh Government would agree to any further negotiations. This would leave us in the position of needing to call strike action in order to achieve our aims. We think this would likely have to be sustained in nature. Even then, we do not think it is likely that a future deal would involve as much back pay as this, nor deal with pay in 2023-24. We think this is the best opportunity to reach an improved deal for 2022-23-24 and move forwards with our pay campaign into future years. In the next few weeks, it is quite possible that the pay award for 2024-25 will be published, effectively ending any conversations about 2023-24. The Welsh Consultants Committee is recommending that you vote in favour of this offer. They think that this represents the best deal that we will be able to negotiate for 2023-24. It includes important and long-needed reforms which benefit individual consultants and the profession. It shortens the pay scale, it increases pay at the front end, front-loads pay throughout the career with pay steps, increasing the value for the pension, and brings commitment awards which have been frozen for years properly into the pay scale to ensure that they are uplifted again in the future. It puts us on the path to pay restoration, and it leaves consultants in Wales the best paid consultants in the UK. Now it is time for you to have your say. We are holding a referendum on the pay offer from the 12th of June to the 26th of June. Unlike a ballot for industrial action, the referendum on whether to accept the deal from the Welsh Government is not a statutory ballot. This means that you can instead have your say via an online referendum. The referendum opens on the 12th of June, with voting emails being sent to members directly by Civica Election Services, or CES. Only BMA members who are registered as a consultant working in the NHS in Wales can participate in the vote. If you aren't yet a member of the BMA, you can join up until the 23rd of June and receive a voting link. To join the BMA, you can scan the QR code on the screen now, or alternatively Google Join BMA. The referendum will close on the 26th of June, after which point we will announce the results and next steps.